Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is actually the Warriors for Peace 500 in the Elite Indycar Series. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me, Wyatt Canadal. We're having a bit of technical issues here tonight with our Indycar broadcast. So we're actually broadcasting over here on the Formula One page, but we'll get that updated later on. And we join this already in progress here at lap 78. Chad Frankenfield leading over Chris Wilhite. We did have one caution back on around lap 40 when Gavin Ibbs and I do believe that was Bill Colley got together. But we're currently set the pace here. Chad Frankenfield, Chris Wilhite, Alex Vance, Gavin Ibbs, Mark Murphy, Victor Del Nick DeGroot, Cesar Cabral, Matthew Weeks, Kevin Burrell, top 10, AJ Musselman, Brent Jones, Michael Hossack, Mark Babilas, our lead lap entries, Brandon Burns, Bill Colley, Nick Sudik, and Robert Smith running up the field. Wyatt, what do you think of the action so far?
Man, it's been really good. You know, we're looking here as Chad Frankenfield is leading the field, no pun intended there. Earlier in the race, we had Wilhite in the lead for, I believe, the entire first run. And he was doing a great job of maintaining. I wonder if that clean air is a giant factor in the ability to get to the lead. It looks like it's becoming an ever constantly difficult task to get back to the car that passes you. Especially as the leader, it looks like the clean air is benefiting the leader at the time. As we look through the field here, it looks like we have Hibbs and Murphy starting, and Van de Sant kind of starting to come under a blanket here a little bit, Robert. Weeks in 9th position is starting to reel in Cabral as well. That looks like it's going to be a pretty fun little battle. Weeks started outside the top 10, worked his way into the top 10 here. As you see Burrell behind him. Colby Musselman, Brent Jones, Michael Hossack, and Mark Babilas.
Yeah, as we were mentioning earlier on, we'll actually go through a bit of the information we discussed earlier since we, for some reason, we're not live. You know, the system was telling us we were live on the airwaves, but unfortunately we were not. So 260 laps is the length here tonight. That's about 320 miles. They started this event with 9 sets of tires. That is 1 on the car, 8 in the pit area. Also, we give a shout out to Mark Babilas, who's come on board as one of the presenting partners of the series for next season. He is rapidly increased the course at 500. So thank you to Mark for that. As we do see Chad Frankenfield and Chris Wilhite right here. They are under a blanket, about 0.6 of a second separating those two. As Chad continues to lead this. As you can see, he's snaking down the back straightaway a little bit, trying to cut that arrow really off of the nose of Chris Wilhite to give Chad the advantage here, which it has a little bit, that gap not getting any smaller, but also not getting any larger as these guys are maintaining well. Actually, Wilhite making a nice charge into the corner here, Wyatt. Looking really good in that number 7. Purple machine, so 7 might be the lucky charm here.
Yeah, and he's doing a great job. I don't think we've seen him outside of the top 2, barring maybe the caution briefly. But he's really been one of the class of the field along with Chad Frankenfield. Alex Van de Sant there in third, but sitting around third most of the race, you know, as we missed the first small little chunk of this race.
You know, I thought we were having a great broadcast earlier on with that first chunk of the race. Until Chad told us we're not having any broadcast right now.
Right, exactly. And as we look through the field here, 18 cars on the ticker. Sorry, that word was escaping me for some reason. The 85 actually did not start the race. 87 had some issues early, pitted, got back on track for about a lap, and then he cut it back down pit road. He looks to be done for the day. Colley was damaged badly from that accident around lap 40, lap 50. And I'm not sure what has happened to Burns.
I do believe Burns had a bit of an issue earlier on as well, just while we were away trying to fix our technical issues. himself on pit road. He has been on pit road for about 37 laps now. So burns out of this event. As you do see Chad Frankenfield here just ahead of him. That is the 96 of Robilis. Robilis about to go one lap down. I want a dish. Yeah, no, just one lap down. But Robilis out here bringing the shot as well.
Yeah, and as I look through the field, I believe we had Cabral work his way up early on. Started outside the top 12, I believe. Maybe even in 14th position or something along those lines.
So
has worked his way up to 8th.
Just to touch on that point real quickly here, Wyatt, Cesar Cabral did qualify back in 16th position. He is up 8 spots right now, finding himself in 8th position. Just behind him is a very hungry Matthew Weeks in the team car. These guys come over from our stock car side of things, putting on an effort of his own here tonight. Looking pretty good as well, running up 4 spots. Just ahead of Kevin Burrell, AJ Musselman, Brent Jones, another stock car guy, Michael Hossack, Mark Bilas. We just saw him go a lap down. He's just ahead of Chris Wilhite, the second place car, as Chad Frankenfield did get past Robilis to put him one lap down here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Exactly, and as we look through this race, 93 laps in, 92 completed. You know, great race in here, almost a bit of a charity race. You know, we're going for gold here or nothing because the championship's already been settled.
Yeah, as we will pull up the points here, we did look at these earlier, but you guys could not see them. Adriano Pinero did lock up the championship by a wide margin of Josh Stewart. Neither of those guys here tonight, so Alex Vance is looking to build on his gap over Chad Frankenfield. I'm not 100% sure how the points work on this side of things, but I do believe Vanderstedt should be able to stay ahead of Frankenfield as he entered tonight with a 17-point gap over him. Chad with an 11-point gap over Kevin Burrell. Burrell currently running 10th with that piece. Mark Murphy, Nicholas Sudik, Vic Del Porto, Chris Wright, and Rich Troiano round out the top 10. Troiano and Wright not here tonight. So that should allow Michael Hossack to move up as high as 9th position. So kudos to Khosla for his effort here as these guys continue to run green on lap number 96. Chad Frankenfield currently leading over Chris Wilhite, Martin Vandesant, Gavin Gibbs, and Mark Murphy. There's a grab bag of drivers up here. Frankenfield coming to pit road.
That's got to be a strategy play. I think they ran just about this many laps on the previous run before the caution. I wonder if he's looking at the sets of tires and looking at the fuel and he's thinking, yeah, I'm going to play this strategy because Wilhite was not losing too much time to him at all.
That is absolutely correct. It should very well be a strategy call by Frankenfield as Chris Wilhite now takes the race lead over Alexander Vandesant. These guys will remain on track, as will Gavin Hibbs, Mark Murphy, Vic Del Porto, Nick DeGroot, Cesar Cabral, Nicky Weeks, Kevin Burrell, the whole top 10 staying out here. So Frankenfield, the only driver to come out of the road, as you see him exiting now, as he is a lap down at this point. Chris Wilhite now almost a lap and a half ahead of him. So a lot of work to do for Frankenfield if he wants to work his way up. Now as Gavin Hibbs brings his number 95 machine down pit road as well. Cesar Cabral in the 70. So pit stops have begun. Looks like Wilhite's going to surrender that race and come down pit road as Alex Vandesant will stay out one lap here and go for the race. Mark Murphy will also stay on track, as well as Victor Del Porto, Kevin Burrell, Nick DeGroot coming down pit road, Matthew Weeks as well, Hossack, Musselman down pit road, Jones down pit road, Robilis looking like he's getting ready to make that turn down pit road. So you know what? This will actually put Chad Frankenfield back up into around the top 5 to 7. But it'll all be known to us once they make all these stops and it cycles back through to see where Chad Frankenfield lands if you were in Chad's shoes, how are you feeling right now about that pit call? Seeing everyone come down just about a lap later, and he's actually just behind Chris Wilhite. You see Frankenfield right behind him. So, you know what? I think this worked out perfectly for him.
You know, I think it did too, and he's got some heat on those tires already, as Wilhite's got to get him warmed up a little bit. I think he's got to be feeling pretty good, you know. There's a couple guys that are just now coming down pit road, like Del Porto and Burrell.
Del Porto, Burrell down pit road, like you mentioned, Michael Hossack as well. So that should move. Vanisant now makes the turn onto pit road. Murphy as well. So that should put Chris Wilhite and Chad Frankenfield back on the lead lap. So they still have a little bit of work to do. Yeah, look at these guys climbing up that ticker. Wilhite back up to third. They should grab the lead and second place this time. As we take a look, Vanisant just now getting to his pit box. Murphy getting to his as Hossack exit. Here comes Chris Wilhite and Chad Frankenfield to the race lead.
It looks like Wilhite's starting to use a little bit of a defensive line. I think we might get a little racy here for the lead. I think Frankenfield wants it back very badly. It looks like Wilhite might have got a little better of a stop.
There is the pass for the lead. Chris Wilhite over Alex Vanisant, Chad Frankenfield right there. A lot closer than I thought as they go by the lap car. Brent Jones putting Brent one lap down here. Brent got a little bit wiggly there ahead of Vanisant, but Chris Wilhite and Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, and I think Brent might have had an issue on that pit stop. I'm showing here 3 laps down for him. I wonder if he had a penalty he had to come back in and serve.
Yeah, definitely possible. Again, you know what, Brent Jones is very new to these cars. He was saying to me just before the event that it had been a year since he was strapped into one of these. So he has to get used to everything. Coming down pit road, the braking, the throttle, the pit limiter, I guarantee you not set one of those. That is likely why Brent Jones had to come back down and possibly as Rabilas and any other car running down with Burns, Cawley, Sudik, and Smith all out in the event. Pass on Kevin Burrell. That is for the 7th position. Just behind them, Weeks and Cabral battling here. Weeks jumps up to the 9th spot. Cabral back to 10th. Cabral looking to the inside of Weeks here. These guys are putting on a show as Matthew Weeks able to pull away.
Looks like Cabral got a little loose there going into the corner. He might have dived it in a little too hard.
That is definitely quite possible. Now, Wyatt, obviously, we had the technical issues at the start of this event. I think now is a good time to send it over to our friends at TA Services for a quick message from them here, just so we can thank those that help us make things happen over here. And we are back here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is the Warriors for Peace 500 here in the Mega Driver IndyCar Series. This is the final race for Ethan Reisner, or Mega Driver 86, as the series partner. So we want to thank him for his partnership over the years. I believe he's been here since day one, and you know what, that's definitely commendable for him. Mega Driver IndyCar Series at Mega Driver 86 on Twitter provides top-notch NASCAR content from past to present, as well as IndyCar content, supercar content, and more. Make sure to give me a follow today, Mega Driver 86. Blue Egg Marketing is the marketing department for small businesses. Blue Egg is here to be your biggest fan and help you punch above your weight class. Brizzy Cam is also a partner here at the Elite Racing Network. Brizzy is a venture-backed tech company based in Toronto and Boston on a mission to reimagine the group photo experience. To honor the days of carrying around a tripod or selfie stick, they help their customers and users tell better stories around meaningful moments. And of course, our race sponsor here tonight. This is the Warriors for Peace 500. And Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information. And back down to the action, Chris Wilhite currently leading by 0.8 seconds over Chad Frankenfield. About 1.8 seconds behind them is Alexander Vanessant. Vanessant over there is down in third. It's about another 3 seconds back to John Hibbs. And then 5 seconds behind him, we find Mark Murphy, Porto, as well as Nick DeGroot, Matthew Weeks, Kevin Burrell. Those guys are battling right in the lead position. As you see Burrell making a look to the inside of Matthew Weeks. Weeks able to continue on and run in that 8th spot. One of our biggest movers, actually the biggest mover of the event. Still up 6 spots to the 10th position. AJ Musselman, Michael Khosla, and Mark Rabilas are the next 3 on track. Rabilas first car running down. And then we find Brett Jones here 3 laps down. And then Brandon Burns, Bill Colley, Nicholas Sudik all out of the event. And Robert Smith did not start here tonight. Wyatt. Obviously, we took an opportunity there to thank our partners here at the Elite Racing Network, the Elite Racing Team. I'd like to thank you as well for stepping in here tonight. Obviously, a little bit of a last-minute call for you. I think I called you with about 4 minutes left in practice, and you were able to make it out, so thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. You know, I'm having fun. It's nice to have a little change of scenery here, watching some non-stock cars really put on a show for us. And I'm having a great time. You know, we've got some good action on the track. And, man, I'm looking through this ticker here. We have 5th place, really, all the way through 9th place, kind of under a couple second blanket here. It's shaping up to be some really good fun here as this thing goes on green.
Oh, really? It's about 5th through 10th. About 3 seconds separating Mark Murphy and Caesar Cabral. They're all on the same straightaway. About 5 seconds behind them, AJ Musselman. So this midfield looking really good. As we jump there from Hossack to Wilhite, and that is not a large distance at this point. As you can see, Michael Hossack in the same set of corners as race leader Chris Wilhite. So Wilhite about to put another one down. We will lap up to the 11th position. Wyatt, obviously this is something a little bit different than what we're used to over on the stock car side of things. What are your thoughts so far, and how do you think you would perform if you were out here?
Well, I'll put it this way. I think I would happily finish 19th in this race. Get my top 20 out of the way and not worry about much more after that. But I'd have a blast in these cars, man. They're fast. I mean, we were looking earlier when we were having the technical difficulties at the speeds, and as you see here, we're almost pushing 200 miles per hour down the front stretch going into turn 1. As these tires wear out a little bit, we're seeing about 145 miles per hour, dropping down to about that much, getting back up into the 190s down the backstretch. I believe earlier in the race, when the sun was still up, we were only down to about 107.
Yeah, you can definitely see a little bit of a speed difference here. As you mentioned, Chris Wilhite almost pushing 200 miles per hour on the front straightaway. That is quite insane. As he goes into turn 1, he drops to 4th gear, which really helps him propel through that corner. But he's maintaining 180 miles per hour through 3 and 4 in 6th gear, still up there. Look, he's about to top out 197 miles per hour on the straightaway. That is crazy. I could not do it, but I do want to give you a little bit more credit than what you've given yourself. I do think you would finish at least 18th here, as you must remember, Robert Smith did not start the event.
Oh, no, that was definitely intentional. I knew he didn't start the event, but I think I might have wrecked before we came to green, putting me behind the guy who didn't even start the race. So, as we see a car in the wall.
Caesar Cabral grabbed a little slice of wall pie there, as I do see a battle shaping up here between DeGroot and Del Porto as we send it up to the Elite Racing Network chopper. flown by Dave Huckleberry. They're going to catch the lap car of Brent Jones here. As you see DeGroot taking advantage of that slipstream, going 3 wide into the corner. Jones backs out of it. Absolutely smart move by Brent Jones. As Nick DeGroot grabs a little bit of the apron there. Rather bumpy on the bottom, but those guys able to single out once again. But what that has done is allowed Matthew Weeks to grab their slipstream. Here's that battle side by side once again. DeGroot, Del Porto, the two DE, 6th and 7th. DeGroot to the bottom of Del Porto. Side by side. Wyatt B is not able to make that stick. As you know, these tires are already getting to that point where they're starting to fall off a little bit. But I have to wonder if possibly DeGroot will make that move again, and it may not stick.
You know, I think you're right, and as we're about halfway through this run, I believe, based on last run's statistics, I'm looking at Matthew Weeks right behind him. He's got to be licking his lips. He sees 2 spots right there, and if they keep battling, all that's helping him, or all that's doing is helping him soak up to those cars so he can battle more as we go on board here with Matthew Weeks. Pretty smooth wheel through 1 and 2 as we go down the back straightaway, and looking here, you know, very, very nice looking hot rod. Got a little wider arc on entry here as those two are racing really hard, and he has got to be excited, Robert.
Absolutely. Knowing Matthew Weeks is one of my teammates, you know, he's definitely screaming right now in excitement over in the Pro Ed Discord. As you know, he's the kind of guy that does get excited about this thing. Group going to the bottom again of Del Porto. I don't think it's going to stick once again as Del Porto does get that advantage on exit. Just barely though. The Group able to hang on his inside just a little bit longer as they do continue to go side by side here. The Group to the bottom, Del Porto to the top. Del Porto able to pull away as the Group falls back a little bit. Matthew Weeks just behind him. So this is a hell of a battle between 6, 7, and 8 here, as these guys are battling a Chad ton, Wyatt.
They are battling an absolute Chad ton. And, you know, going back to Matthew Weeks, not necessarily known for his IndyCar experience, but as he hops in the 19 car tonight, he's really doing a pretty good job. He's kept it in one piece, and, you know, as a starting some of the stock car series, it's impressive to see, isn't it?
Absolutely is impressive to see, as he is one of those guys that is known in our stock car series. He made it to the championship 4 in the Cup Series. I believe he made it to the championship 4 on the truck side of things. Matthew Weeks, one of those guys that really does have an immense amount of talent, especially in stock cars. You know what? A wheelman can wheel in just about anything. Matthew Weeks making it look very good. As DeGroot, I think, may have slammed the wall a little bit there. He just may have gotten a little too close, but it looked like he grabbed a piece of that. But back to Matthew Weeks real quick. He raced in the 8500 last Friday night here on the Elite Racing Network fairly well. He did a nice job, earns the respect of these guys. But Porto and DeGroot do not want to give up here. DeGroot, I believe, just finally, no, he did not get it done. Has Del Porto able to keep that momentum? This should be the time when DeGroot's able to clear him. It is not. Del Porto continues on, and here comes Matthew Weeks. Weeks to the outside of Nick DeGroot, up to the 7th position. Matthew Weeks now tied with Cesar Gabral for the most positions gained of 6 on the track. Matthew Weeks doing a great job. Nick DeGroot, I think, may have worn the gritty off those tires as he was pushing very hard to try to get by Victor Del Porto. Kudos to Del Porto. He did it clean, and he held on to that spot.
Yeah, that was a really good battle there. I do believe DeGroot started to wear out his stuff, like you were saying. Matthew Weeks, kind of interesting here. They were battling side by side, and he was soaking up to him, but he's kind of stuck in that buffer that we've kind of seen cars just sit about a couple tenths off of each other, not be able to close too much, as Del Porto is starting to reel in Murphy in the 69.
Yeah, as you do see Mark Murphy here just ahead of Victor Del Porto. About a corner ahead of him here as you see Del Porto off of turn number 4. crossing the start-finish line as Mark Murphy enters into turn number 3. These guys are going to get close very soon. But let's jump back up to the front, take a look and see what's going on up there. Doesn't look like too much action as Chris Wilhite does continue to lead over Chad Frankenfield. Frankenfield has about a half a second over Vandesand, but Vandesand very strong here. And one thing you have to take note of here, Wyatt, there is a lot of lap traffic just ahead of these guys. As we saw earlier with Bill Colley and Gavin Hibbs, anything can happen, and we may see a similar incident to earlier. This is not a very wide track. These are very powerful cars with a big suck on them, so anything can happen.
Yeah, they certainly are. And, you know, another thing to keep note of here is Vandesand actually put it a few laps later than Wilhite in the lead, and I believe he put it quite a few, maybe 5 or 6 laps past Mr. Frankenfield. So he's done a good job taking care of his stuff, and he's starting to reel that gap back in now as they're starting to look towards their pit window here. I believe we're only about 5 to 10 laps away from starting to see more people come back in.
Yeah, just taking a look at the last time they were down pit road. Chris Wilhite was down on lap 99, which Chad Frankenfield came down lap 96. He was the first of the lead lap cars to come down pit road, while Alex Benson was the last to come down himself, and Mark Murphy came down on lap 102. As we do see Chris Wilhite now catching one of the lap cars that we believe that is AJ Musselman just ahead of him. So the 11th place car about to go a lap down to Chris Wilhite. Brent Jones just ahead of them, about to go 4 laps down. As we see Wilhite make a dive to the inside. That was very close. Right, absolutely, that was close, Wyatt. As Wilhite and Musselman almost became a mosquito and a mosquito as that did not go too well. Wilhite hoping for an easier time when he goes around Brent Jones here momentarily. But Mr. DJ1's 4 laps down at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Brent moves all the way up to the top, and a very respectful driver is that number 89/616. Up Brent Jones just behind the race leaders here. Frankenfield just ahead of Alexander Vandesand. And then a 5-second gap back to Gavin Hibbs. Another 7 back to Mark Murphy. And then these guys under a blanket here, Del Porto, Weeks, and I do believe that's Nick DeGroot coming down pit road. So DeGroot going to kickstart the pit stops this time by. Who's going to be next to follow? Will it be Chad? Will it be Chris? Will it be Alex? Will it be Gavin? Maybe not. Who knows?
One thing's for sure.
On pit road. Somebody's going to go.
Yeah, one thing's for sure. We will see an Indycar on pit road here shortly.
Yeah, as long as we don't see like a monster truck or something on pit road, we're golden there. As it looks like the next car slated to go lap down, Cesar Cabral, has a little bit of a gap over our race leaders. As we take a look on the camera here, the track map. So Cabral just entering turn number, just coming off of turn number 2. As Chris Wilhite just exits turn 2 now. So a little bit of a gap there. I do believe pit stops will happen before Cabral goes down, but these guys are lapping rather quickly. As Cabral is running 9th, and he's the next one to go running down. Just a note here, the group has re-entered the track 2 laps behind the race leader, so he's going to have a lot of extra work to do when he opts to, when these guys opt to come down here. As we look a little bit further back, that's just Fantasy passing Jones. Hibbs, Murphy, all running alone here. Del Porto trying to get rid of the pesky bug that is Matthew Weeks. Kevin Burrell just behind him, and there's Cesar Cabral. So, you know what? The leader, Chris Wilhite, was really not too far behind 6th place in Victor Del Porto. So, we may see a lot of guys a lap down here, as Alexander Vandesand has made a pass on Chad Frankenfield, as Frankenfield coming down pit road. 2nd car down, he gets from 2.
Yeah, and these lead guys here in the top 3 or top 4 or so have had a really tough time getting around lap traffic, and I don't think this is going to be any different here as we stay green here through these green flag pit stops. As the biggest thing we need to keep note of here is we have 5 or 6 cars under a blanket. And when these leaders come, it's going to be insane because if something happens, if someone gets tied underneath another car and they lose momentum, where are these other guys going to go if they're side by side?
As we see Gavin Higgs come down pit road here, that is a great point why Chris Wilhite now come down pit road. I was just going to point that out. I think Wilhite was planning on pitting before he caught that pack of cars, just to be safe. Because you know what, I would rather not pass a pack of hungry lead lap cars battling for position when I can come down pit road, create a little bit of a gap, and come back out and likely pull away from everybody else. Is Alex Vanasan now your race leader over Mark Murphy, Victor Del Porto, Matthew Weeks, Kevin Burrell, the top 5, while AJ Musselman works his way up to 6th, Michael Hossack 7th, and that should cycle Chad Frankenfield back to the 8th position here momentarily, as Vanasan does stay on track here. I do believe, that he is passing the lap car of, I believe that to be the 54 of AJ Musselman. That is Musselman, correct. Weeks, Cabral, pit road, here they come. As Alex Vanasan remains your race leader over Mark Murphy and Victor Del Porto, that is AJ Musselman coming down pit road just behind. He's actually in the 5th spot, despite being 1 lap down. So this is a rapid pace that we're seeing out of these race leaders, as only 4 cars currently on the lead lap. Of course, that will cycle back around, but we put more guys multiple laps down. Weeks 2 laps down. The group 2 laps down. Cabral 2 laps down. Bilas remains on pit road. Jones 4 laps down. Everyone else out of the event, as your top 4 remains the same. Vanasan, Murphy, Del Porto, Burrell, Hossack now down pit road. So that'll move our eventual race leader, Chris Wilhite, back up to 5th. Chad Frankenfield back to 6th. So this thing's cycling around. We see Matthew Weeks, a little bit of a battle here with, I do believe that to be Nick DeGroot. That's a battle for the 9th position. DeGroot currently 10th, Weeks in 9th. These guys doing a nice job as they pass Michael Hossack, who remains on pit road. DeGroot loves that bottom line, Wyatt. I don't know if you've noticed that. Whoa.
Yeah, he sure does, as they get real close in the center 1 and 2 there going down the backstretch. Looks like Weeks will hold him off for now. I'm looking here, and I've got to be curious if there's a strategy play that I'm not aware of with Vanasan staying out as long as he is.
You do have to remember Alex Vanasan hit about 6 laps later than these guys, as did Mark Murphy. Del Porto and Burrell about 5 laps after these guys. So they all have fresher tires. Kevin Burrell now down pit road. So I think they're trying to even out the tire strategy a little bit here. Vanasan likely has a little bit more fuel. He also has a 15-second gap, so really, if he could pull away a little bit, why not?
Yeah, and I gotta wonder if he's thinking, I don't know if I have the speed to pass the 7 or Mr. Frankenfield, but I might be able to get a good timed caution and trap these guys all a lap down.
As we do see Alexander Van Desant in the Turn 4 Racing #1 machine come down pit road. That'll hand the lead over to Mark Murphy, who says no thank you, comes down pit road as well as Victor Del Porto. So you know who's the race leader once again? That's Chris Wilhite. Chris Wilhite, Chad Frankenfield back in the race lead, as Cesar Cabral will finally go the 2nd lap down here, as Wilhite's about to make that pass off momentarily. They have a lot of guys trapped multiple laps down, actually 1 lap down. For most of them as they cycle back to the lead lap here, but things are about to get really close.
Yeah, and as things cycle around, we're going to see that 7 car who's been leading most of the race. I got to think that was a pull on the draft, right?
Yeah, I definitely think he tried to get Vanasant's draft, as actually Alex Vanasant is your race leader as Chris Wilhite battles to the inside here. I think closer than Chris Wilhite would have liked. With Van de Sant exiting pit road, those guys got a little close there on exit.
Yeah, they're racing hard. I think Van de Sant's realizing, hey, I've got the fresh stuff now. You guys are on about 10 lap old stuff already. It's time to race now. He's made a great green flag pit stop here. Even might argue a little better than Wilhite. And, you know, only a couple parts between them. And Van de Sant's going to have the strategy advantage here, as I believe they're going to have about one more pit stop to do if the thing stays green, as we sit here with just over 100 laps to go.
Yeah, just about 102 laps remaining here in the Warriors for Peace 500 at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Chris Wilhite half a second over out Van de Sant. Van de Sant 8 laps fresher tires. Van de Sant has that straight up speed, which is what helped him get ahead of the race leader, Chris Wilhite. Now Wilhite, of course, just ahead of him. But I just want to quickly point out here, we have 5 cars within about a second of each other right now, Wyatt. We have Mark Murphy, Victor Del Porto, Matthew Weeks, Kevin Burrell, Nick DeGroot, all right there. Things make it interesting. You know, you mentioned, oh, what if we get a caution? Oh, you get a lot of Indy cars packed together close like this, you may get that caution.
We might see one end up in those poor fans out there. I don't want to see it, but it's possible. These things can catch air.
They absolutely can catch air here. As we send it to our turn 3 camera, Brent Jones just going by there. Look at how close they are. They are very tight there. That's 5th through 9th. Cesar Cabral not really too far behind them either. Just a little bit of a journey down. Oh, okay. Look at that. Cesar Cabral right there. Chris Wilhite, Alex Van de Sant. That's a lot closer than I thought it was. That is 1st and 2nd with a rather sporty lap car. Of the 10th place is Cesar Cabral, so not Chris Cabral. That's Cesar right there as he works his way up to the high side. Oh, there might have been a little bit of contact there just about between Cabral and Van de Sant. Luckily, they were able to record it. But just behind Van de Sant, kicking out. That's our boss man. That is Chad Frankenfield kicking the tires, number 15 machine. Looking very sporty as always out here on the racetrack here, Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway. And you know, one thing that's so great about this track, Wyatt, is those gateway arches. Have you ever had a chance to visit Gateway?
I haven't, no. It's really a beautiful track, and in person, the pictures and videos I've seen is just, it's gorgeous, really. I mean, there's nothing better than seeing those, and the racing of this track is fun to watch. I mean, especially in these Indy cars here tonight. And we're having a great time. You know, this battle for the lead is starting to ramp up as we got about 3 cars in contention for the win as of now. Still one pit stop to go. A lot can change. Frankenfield getting really close to that wall off turn 2.
Absolutely. As just a quick note, in the rear of the field, AJ Musselman has brought his number 54 machine back down pit road. But as I was just quickly pointing out, Wyatt, the gateway arches are rather beautiful. Just to where their nose, just to show you what we're talking about. You can see them off in the distance there in the city skyscape. That's a rather nice view as we head back down to the track. There's leading around Chad Frankenfield, Gavin Hibbs, and Mark Murphy. But Murphy has a lot of friends here. It's almost like an episode of Ronnie. I love you, you love me, we're all here. It's Del Porto, Matthew Weeks, Kevin Burrell, Nick DeGroot, all under a blanket. That's Wilhite. They're on the same straightaway. So Wilhite could potentially have up to the 4th position momentarily. That is quite a crazy thought. Just under 100 laps remaining at Worldwide Technology Raceway and the Warriors for Peace 500.
Yeah, and you know, with all those cars, we just saw him have a little bit of trouble getting around a lap car. I'm starting to think this is definitely a 3-horse race, because once he gets up to him and he starts passing him, it's going to be hard to get clear with how close those cars are. I don't know if you're going to be able to squeeze in between them. You might have to do it all on the bottom along with these second and third place cars of Van de Sant and Frankenfield. It's going to be very interesting to see. At this pace, they will catch him. But who's going to be successful in navigating the lap traffic? And as you see here, Chris Wilhite is moving that wheel. He's keeping the tires constantly gripped up to the surface. And he is doing a great job all night as he has led the majority of these laps.
He has done an excellent job here. As you see him approaching what I do believe is the 9/616 So Joe now finds himself 5 laps down here as we take a quick look right here. That is the good one in ninth position. Chris Wilhite lost about a second back to the group. So that should be as Wilhite will catch the group. Burrell, Weeks, Del Porto, and Murphy within probably the next 3 to 4 laps, possibly 5. But I think the guys that are very excited about that are right here. It's the 1 car of Anderson, the 15 as they are working to get their way up. But as the group works his way past Burrell, moves himself up to the 8th spot, trying to build up a bit of a buffer between himself and Wilhite. If the caution comes out, of course, you do want to remain ahead of the leader. So you have a shot at the victory. I mean, looking at these guys that are about to go a lap down, any one of them has the skill to win this race, Wyatt, let alone go a lap down. That just shows the pace that we've seen out of Wilhite, as well as the pit strategy. You know, he's had some great pit calls tonight, which have helped him a lot. So I think we're about to get into some lap traffic here within the next lap.
Yeah, we definitely are. And oh boy, this is going to be something too, because desperation on these guys is going to start to kick in. They're going to fight real hard to stay on the lead lap here, barring waiting for a caution. Because like you said, these are potential race-winning cars. It has taken 120 laps for him to get around this circuit. And these aren't slow cars by any means. I mean, they are all battling hard. And we're going to see them race this later extremely hard, which is just going to bring Van de Sant and Frankenfield right back up to him.
As we ride on board the halo here of Chris Wilhite, you can see just ahead of him, that is the 9th place car of Kevin Burrell. Burrell just behind Matthew Weeks. Nick the Groove working his way up through the field up to 7th. Just ahead of him, Victor Del Porto. That is now Kevin Burrell, 1 round down. 9th position, next on the chopping block, Matthew Weeks in the number 19 machine. Up 5 spots to the 8th position. Weeks right there with the Groove, with Del Porto, and with Murphy, as Wilhite has 1 car between himself and Gavin Hibbs, last car that is not part of this little group here. He is about 11 seconds back of the race leader, 13 seconds ahead of the place Murphy. So Gavin Hibbs probably in the best spot right now.
Yeah, he is, and you know, he's got to be a little lonely in there. I wonder what song he's singing right now.
Yeah, I think he's singing some Christmas carols. He's beside once again. That's Victor Del Porto. Del Porto not running whatsoever, as these guys are battling side by side. They're glued on the bottom, Del Porto on the top. Here comes Matthew Weeks once again, and you know what? He's going to take advantage of this. If these guys continue to battle, Weeks doing a great job here tonight. He should be very proud. Yes, he is about to go a lap down within the next lap, but he's done a great job. As you see, Van de Sant did get by Kevin Burrell. Frankenfield now looking by. And Wilhite on the inside of the man known as Zeus, currently heading his way into turn number 3. Wilhite in the 7 car, Weeks doing a nice job holding him off right now, but he is going to make that dive to the inside. That is Chris Wilhite looking to the inside of the 8th place number 19 machine of Matthew Weeks. Next up on the chopping block is Victor Del Porto, but Weeks not giving up here. He said, hey, I'm battling here too, as he's going to make a charge at Del Porto. That will his way up to the 7th position.
And this is the part that's really going to hurt Wilhite here. You know, Van de Sant, he got it through the first lap car, Kevin Burrell, very well. And now he's working towards Matthew Weeks, and Matthew Weeks is just not having it yet. He thinks he's got something, maybe if a caution comes out, and he's fighting real hard to get in front of the car in front of him at Del Porto. As he dives low here going into turn 3, this will be interesting. He's going to block the leader from having a lane to make a pass. A little bit of a run here. He's going to come out not too bad coming off of turn 4, but it looks like the leader's going to get to his outside of Wilhite, and that will put him a lap down. It gives it to him going into turn 1.
That does put Matthew Weeks 1 lap down, as you mentioned, Wyatt. That was a nice little battle there between himself and Del Porto. Weeks trying to keep himself on the lead lap as Wilhite has his eyes set on Del Porto. De Groot just ahead of them, working his way up to try to get past Mark Murphy for the 5th spot. So these lap cars still battling hard as things getting a little close there between Del Porto and Wilhite for the next car to go 1 lap down. As you see, Frankenfield get past Weeks. Frankenfield coming down pit road. I think he's going to have to make an additional stop with this pit strategy. That Frankenfield only pit on lap Frankfield making an early stop here.
They might be able to make it on fuel. I wonder if they were more concerned with tires and how many sets of tires they did have. You know, guy who's a little nervous right now is that 7 car because he can't get around. He cannot get around Del Porto to save his life right now.
Victor Del Porto making it rather hard to get by him, either for position or just to put him a lap down. As we saw some tight battles between himself and De Groot as well as Weeks just moments ago. Now this is Chris Wilhite, our race leader. He tried to get by, but not. Alex Innocent, remember, he has 8 laps fresher tires than with Chris Wilhite, and he is within 3/10 of a second now. Wilhite looking to the bottom. Will he go by this time? Del Porto says no thank you, and he keeps that spot. Victor Del Porto showing his muscle here tonight.
Van de Sant.
Stay ahead. Van de Sant right there. As you see that purple rose cone entering the photo here. As you see Wilhite right behind Del Porto. Are things about to get interesting here? Is Van de Sant going to make a pass for the lead? Is Wilhite potentially going to get into the back of Del Porto? Anything can happen right here. Let's send it back up to our leaders for the chopper with pilot Dave Huckleberry. Wilhite does get by Del Porto here, as Van de Sant's going to look to get the same pass on Del Porto. Del Porto is probably going to make it rather tough, as he will leave the bottom open and actually just let Van de Sant. Never mind. He will not just let him go, as Van de Sant now battling side by side with Victor Del Porto. Del Porto has a muscle here.
He does, and you know, the guy who doesn't want to see them racing this hard right now is the other guy that was in contention in this race that pitted just a couple laps ago with Frankenfield. That would trap him a lap down with quite a few lap cars in front of him. Make it very interesting to see if he'd be able to get back on the lead lap and compete again. But as we look here, Van de Sant struggling to get around Del Porto. And Matthew Weeks is still there. Matthew Weeks is actually kind of liking this a little bit. Might pick up another spot.
Yeah, as we ride on board with the Turn 4 racing machine of Alex Van de Sant, he is still stuck behind Del Porto. As he makes a look to the inside, he cannot get it done. Del Porto just trying to muscle his way possibly back to the lead lap. I'm not 100% sure what he's really gaining. I guess just trying to stay there, trying to stay the first car lap down. Not even too sure if they do, but lucky dogs in this series. As you see Vance side by side with Del Porto. They got pretty close, but Del Porto remains in front. Victor Del Porto does not have this off the line, so he's never looked to lead second. And he will not clear him.
The 7 and Del Porto possibly be teammates.
As we will take a quick look at that, Van de Sant finally gets by. Here's Will Height, Indy Alliance Racing, Del Porto, Beneporto Pro Racing. They are not listed as teammates, of course. They may be pals. You never know.
He did race him hard there, though. I will say he raced Will Height hard as well. It looks like Van de Sant was just struggling a little more to get around him, and that's got to be crushing for Van de Sant as his 1/10 deficit has turned into over a 1.5-second deficit now on the number 7 of Will Height. Coming 65 laps to go now, gotta be feeling great if you're Will Height. Getting ready to have another green flag pit stop, potentially the last one, and you've got clear track in front of you for the most part. You don't have a whole lot behind you because you're going to keep pulling away. It's got to be a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, Will Height and Hibbs in pit lap 147, 148, so those guys should come down about 10 laps sooner than Van de Sant and Murphy, who both put on lap 156. So we may see that lead kind of change a little bit with the next pit cycle. There's actually Gavin Hills now coming down the road. So Chris Wilhite probably not too far behind, as you see Wilhite actually about to lap 4th place Mark Murphy. So Murphy now 1 lap down. This is crazy. As the only 2 cars on the lead lap right now, Chris Wilhite, Alexander Van de Sant. As Will Height coming down pit road, Van de Sant can stay out. You think Van de Sant can put Will Height 1 lap down?
I think he can burn down until he goes through his cycle and pits for the final time, but we've seen Van de Sant stay out another 5 to 7 laps on each one of these green flag pit stops, and we've been green for almost 150 laps, if not more. It's going to be interesting to see Frankenfield if he can make it on fuel. It was such an early stop, but you got to think with him not having to be around a bunch of these cars, maybe that was his play. Maybe he was thinking these guys are going to get held up by these lap cars fighting hard for position. I'm going to go down, hit my fuel window as soon as I can, make up time on the track by myself with these fresh tires.
Yeah, definitely going to be strategy play on the part of Frankenfield, but will it work? That's the question mark. Is actually Frankenfield able to pass Will Height? So Frankenfield can have the fuel to make it to the end. This may have been a little bit of a game for him. That is too large between Frankenfield and Will Height, about a half straightaway. As you see right there, that was Frankenfield just ahead of it. That was the 6th and 7th position. As Van de Sant remains on track with Mark Murphy, the only other car in the lead lap. There's Murphy right there, just ahead of Van de Sant. So Van de Sant may come down pit road as the only car on the lead lap here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. I could mention that it's been about 160 laps since we had a caution. 1 yellow flag here tonight. These guys have to be proud of their race so far. As actually, I just had reports of Matthew Weeks off track. He is slow right now. This is the 19 machine of Matthew Weeks. We're going to take a quick look. Actually, he just left pit road, so he just had a quick issue accident here. Unfortunate for Weeks, though, he was running fairly well. Still in the 5th spot, but that'll definitely hinder his performance just a little bit.
Yeah, it will.
As actually, he's just coming down pit road now. Once again.
Oh, I wonder if he missed pit road.
That is definitely a possibility. Weeks, Khosla, pit road, Murphy, Van de Sant still on the racing surface. As these guys did make the pit stop lap 198. We're now lap 205. So Van de Sant does have a little bit of a gap. I do like the power there. Frankenfield, hit lap 185. He's expecting to go about 80 laps on this set of tires to make it to the end of the event. In the event that we do not get on caution. So Frankenfield asking a lot out of his tires.
Yeah, he's really pushing the button there coming into this finale here. The Warriors for Peace 500. Great race, though. You know, green flag 99% of this race so far. And, you know, three guys, Van de Sant, Frankenfield, and Will Height, just having a phenomenal race. And, you know, everyone's chasing them. No one's been able to catch them. And they've all been under a blanket for most of it. So this strategy is going to be interesting for Van de Sant. We'll see how well he can get on pit road. But he was struggling to pass those cars. I think Frankenfield, with this cycle, might pull out in front of him, and it might be a two-car battle for second between Will Height and Van de Sant when that cycle finishes out.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of question marks, especially around Frankenfield's strategy. Will it pay off? Will it not? Will it affect him more than what benefits him? But we also really have to keep an eye on when does Alexander Van de Sant come down pit road. You know, he's now about 12 laps past what the other guys pit on. About 20 laps on Frankenfield. It's Alex Van de Sant and Mark Murphy remain on the track. They did pit on the same lap earlier, so we're on the same strategy right now. This is definitely going to be interesting to see what happens, because you do have to remember Del Porto, Burrell, Frankenfield, Wilhite, Gibbs, all one lap down. De Groot, Cabral, Leeds, Khosla, Rabilas, Jones, multiple laps down. Musselman, Burns, Cauley, Smith, all out of the event. Nicholas Sudik has actually rejoined us, sitting on pit road right now. So potentially some changes there for Sudik.
Looks like Kevin
Burrell has entered pit road here.
That'll move Will Height up to fifth.
Van de Sant has come down pit road. This should cycle out to Mark Murphy as the race leader, but I believe he'll come by his pit stop this time coming up as Del Porto now back on the lead lap. Frankenfield also on the lead lap as well. Will Height, Hibbs about to mark himself back on the lead lap. De Groot, Burrell, Cabral one lap down now. Week should get a lap back as well. Here comes Mark Murphy. Here comes Vic Del Porto down pit road. Chad Frankenfield going to cycle back up to the race lead. Was Chad maybe looking at a split? Trying to split this final run? If he was, this may work out for him.
It's going to be certainly interesting here, man. As Will Height and Van de Sant back under a blanket. Looks like Van de Sant lost a little time staying out that long. But he does have 10 to 15 to 20 lap fresher tires on the guys in front of him. And I believe even on Frankenfield, he's got about 30 laps almost, 25 to 30 laps.
25 laps is the advantage from Van de Sant over Frankenfield. 12 laps over Chris Wilhite as Mark Murphy and Del Porto have just been passed by Nick DeGroot. Moved DeGroot back into the top 5. Still one lap down. But we do have 4 cars back on the lap. Gavin Gibbs on the lap as well as and of course Chad Frankenfield, your race leader and basically the master over here at the lead. As this guy does lead the way in his number 15 kicking tires car. What we will do, though, why just in the event that we do not get another caution, we'll actually send it back to our friends at TA Services for one final message from them before the end of the Warriors for Peace 500 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And we are back here in the Warriors for Peace 500. That was our friends over at TA Services, one of our premier partners over here at the Elite Racing Network. of joining TA Services as an elite partner here is Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg Marketing says the small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan, here to help you punch above your weight class. So check out Blue Egg Marketing today. RizzyCam as well is one of our new partners here. RizzyCam lets anyone tap into nearby cameras to capture great memories at iconic places, as if users were controlling their own native camera app, except now for a perfectly positioned vantage point. Today you can find Brizzy at well-known sports venues and cultural landmarks across 4 continents. We also have to say a big thank you to Warriors for Peace for coming on board tonight as the presenting sponsor of the Warriors for Peace 500. Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series for the final time tonight. Mega Driver 86 has been the premier partner of this series basically since day one. Ethan Reisner, also known as Mega Driver 86 on Twitter, provides top-notch NASCAR content from past to present. Be sure to follow Mega Driver 86 on Twitter. They also provide content from IndyCar to Supercars, so they cover everything. Once again, we do have to thank Ethan and Mega Driver for being a great partner for us here over the last few years. Obviously sad to see them go, but we do wish him all the best. And once again, thank you so much for being our partner here. Now back down to the action. Chad Frankenfield, with 41 laps remaining, has a 2-second lead over Chris Wilhite. Just behind him, Alexander Van der Sant, Gavin Hibbs, Nick Groot rounding at the top 5. Mark Murphy into that photo. Kevin Burrell, Cesar Cabral, Matthew Weeks rounding out the top 10. And then a few laps down, we have Marco Bilas and Brent Jones. And out of the event, Adrian Musselman, Brandon Burns, Bill Colley, Nicholas Hewitt, and did not start the event tonight was Robert Smith, as it is now 1.9 seconds between Frankenfield and Wilhite. Wyatt with just over 40 laps, just 40 to go. Who is your pick to take the victory here tonight?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't know if Frankenfield can make it. He is pushing hard, and we see him starting to catch some more lap traffic, at least in the car. Wilhite's starting to creep back in now, right when it matters, and Van der Sant's not too far behind him. Looks like they both closed the margin by a couple tenths the last few laps while we were under ad break. I am struggling to come up with a pick, but I gotta stick with the number 7. I don't know if the 15 can make it on that set of tires, and the 7's been so solid all night. Wilhite is probably going to be my pick. I don't know if Van der Sant's got enough for him without help from lap cars.
That is a great pick right there, taking Chris Wilhite in the number 7 machine. Obviously, Wilhite looking really sporty here tonight. I think I'm going to have to go with Chad Frankenfield, our current race leader, as we see him battling side by side with Michael Hossack there at the 24, putting him a lap down. Chad's been very strong here in this car tonight. Obviously, he's on a bit of a different strategy, but seeing those laps ticking down, and he does still have a 1.5 second lead over Chris Wilhite. So, I think Chad may have a good shot at taking the victory. Obviously, taking Wilhite is not a bad pick whatsoever. Obviously, he's been very strong tonight, and I think he's definitely going to be either himself or Frankenfield. But, Alex Van der Sant may surprise us both and take the victory as well.
Yeah, he's got those fresher tires, and it's starting to work for him. He's really drilling down that margin now, but so is Wilhite. And I think Wilhite's even a little bit faster than him right now, but they should get closer when Wilhite goes to pass the lap car on the back straightaway. It's going to be very interesting. We got a 2.5 margin. Frankenfield's got a pretty clear track out in front of him too. That's something to look out for too. He's not going to have to worry about too much lap traffic, I think, for the end of this race. Maybe one car.
Yeah, there's likely to be a little bit of lap traffic that they will deal with at some point. Obviously, riding on with Frankenfield here, pretty clear ahead of them. actually looks like the next car may be a straightaway away, as Chad actually looking pretty clear out there. 33 laps remaining at Worldwide Technology Raceway here at Gateway. As we say that, I can see a few lap cars ahead. I believe one of them was Matthew Weeks. Weeks still doing a nice job up there in 10th. Obviously up 3 spots from the starting position. Doing a nice job here as one of the outsiders in this series. But Frankenfield, Wilhite, Vanessant, Gibbs, the only 4, or Hibbs, sorry, not Gibbs. He is not from that famous racing family, as Cesar Cabral brings his number 70 machine down pit road for service from his engineers, I think is what they call it in this series, Wyatt.
Something along those lines. I know they've got some weird jack system in the front and back instead, but we're just 2 foreigners to this series coming in and giving really close to the wall there.
Yeah, Frankenfield getting really close to that wall. They have some weird system that pumps these cars up into the air, and they're able to just put some tires on like a piece of Lego and go from there. But it's definitely interesting to see the differences between what we see over on the stock car side and what these guys have here in these open wheel machines, as Chad keeps getting a little closer to the wall each time. Chris Wilhite dealing with a little bit of lap traffic there. That is my fellow Canadian Michael Hossack here, representing the red and white there in his number 24 machine. But Frankenfield now 1.9 seconds ahead, less than 30 laps to go. In just a few moments time, our tower will tick over and show us 25 to go in about 4 laps now, which I know my fellow commentary partner here. Actually, here he comes. Here's Frankenfield coming down pit road. Your new race leader, Chris Wilhite, in the number 7 machine, just barely over Alexander Vanessant. I think Vanessant has a bit of an advantage here, so we can call him Alexander Advantage Sant here, as we probably won't call him that, actually, as that just sounded terrible.
Well, it's the thought that counts, and around this time of the year with the holidays and whatnot, you got to put some thought into it. So consider it an early Christmas or some sort of holiday gift for Advantage Sant. And
Alexander Advantage Sant there, running half a second back of Chris Wilhite, 0.5 of a second. That lead is going to get crunched here as they do approach what appears to be Matthew Weeks. That is Matthew Weeks there in the 19 machine. He's beeping, he's waving. That's not even a word. Beeping and bopping. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something.
Floating like a butterfly.
He's floating like a butterfly. He might sting like a bit of a bee. That is Matthew Weeks right there. As I can actually see our lead producer here at Elite Racing Network, he's typing to me right now. So I'm sure he's got a comment about Alexander Advantage Sant. As he does, he adds a little bit of a laugh there, which is quite comical. Dave Huckleberry, hello. Welcome to the race here tonight. 25 laps to go. That is a moment that your friend Alexander Ned is a big fan of when that ticks over to 25 to go. I don't know if it's just the intensity picks up or if his night's almost over that gets him excited, but Alex Vanessant, 0.7 of a second behind Chris Wilhite. Gavin Hibbs, 17 seconds back, but you know what? Everyone else is a lap down, so Hibbs is doing a great job tonight.
Yeah, Hibbs is doing a phenomenal job. I don't know if anybody's had much for these front two besides Frankenfield, but the strategy didn't look to play out tonight. Matthew Weeks doing a great job in 10th place. He had a little bit of a mistake, either getting on pit road or something along those lines. And he's doing a real good job overall coming in this series, not being known for his Indycar racing and doing a great job. And Michael Hossack's doing the same thing, and a lot of these guys in here have run a really good race. Just the 7 and the 1 and Frankenfield and the 15, that it's been really tough to keep up with them tonight, as we see the lead has now moved on to just over a second.
Just over 1 second of a lead, as we are 22 laps to go here for Chris Wilhite. 1.1 over Alexander Advantage Sant right there in the second position, car number 1. But these guys are catching some lap cars here. As actually we see Chad Frankenfield make a pass on Mark Murphy, move Frankenfield back into the top 5 with Nick DeGroot just ahead of him in the 4th spot. Gavin Hibbs remains in the top 3 and on the lead lap. But yeah, 1.2 seconds now. Will Height over Alex Van de Sant, as Van de Sant might need to take advantage of these lap cars that are coming up here, as we will ride on board with Chris Wilhite. I do believe, yeah, we do have a couple lap cars on the same straightaway here as the race leader, so things may change a little bit momentarily, especially if it's Victor Del Porto. As we know, Victor Del Porto likes to race pretty hard, and unfortunately, I don't know that it is Victor Del Porto, as he is running in the 7th position. We'll look for him on the tracker here. No, he is about half of a track behind the race leader, but I don't think he's going to go a lap down. Van de Sant now 1.3 seconds behind Chris Wilhite. 19 laps to go, coming to 18. Chris Wilhite doing a great job. Believe that to be Mark Rabilis right ahead of them. That is Rabilis, as Brent Jones has come down pit road, and I believe he's on his way back out now. Yes, he is. Currently running in the 13th position. You know what? Brent Jones, although he may be 8 laps down, he entered tonight having not driven this car in almost a year. So kudos to him for at least keeping this going. And you know what? He has no standing in this series whatsoever, and he is still running to the end. So kudos to him. Nick DeGroot coming down pit road for the 4th spot. That moves Chad Frankenfield and Mark Murphy back up into the top 5, as Frankenfield chasing down Matthew Weeks to put Weeks a lap behind him. Frankenfield almost grabs the wall, as here comes Chris Wilhite with 17 to go.
Oh no, I was just thinking about this too. I wonder if he pitted too early. Maybe that's why Van de Sant's been stretching it out.
Just a quick note from the racetrack. Last time by Chad Frankenfield set a race best time of 24.87. Van de Sant and Wilhite, we're running about the same lap times as that. I think Alex Van de Sant can make it to the end here. So Alex Van de Sant may win this race by almost a lap over Gavin Hibbs, as Hibbs should be pitting shortly as well. He last pit on lap 196. So we're about 50 laps since he last came down, as I believe Gavin Hibbs is coming down right now. He is. So I do believe Alex Van de Sant, if he's able to stay out here, he may be able to take victory by 1 whole lap over the field, which is absolutely incredible, as he has got plenty of Rabilis just ahead of him.
He's got plenty of time to save fuel if he needs to as well. That's an important thing. He's got an entire lap plus.
He has an entire lap to do, so obviously, unlike what we can do in a stock car, he definitely can't fully lay off the gas, because these lap times, I mean, are only 24, 25 seconds. So that can get eaten up rather quickly, but 13 laps remaining for Alex Van de Sant, doing a great job out there. Chad Frankenfield, the only car that does remain somewhat close to him. Actually, he's still 1 lap down, but still on the same sort of part of the track, as Van de Sant does get by Rabilis. Looked a little closer than I believe Alex would have wanted there, as we see him go into turn number 1 here. 12 laps remaining in the Warriors for Peace 500 and the 2022 B Mega 86 IndyCar Series, as Alex doing a great job on track to hopefully take a victory here in just a few minutes time. Obviously, like we mentioned, the championship in this series was already locked up heading into tonight by Adriano Pinero. He is not here tonight. We do have a written championship statement from him that we will go over after the event. We also hope to catch up with our podium once this race ends, and we will definitely give them the time of day to shout out their partners. Thank all of you at home for joining us tonight. 10 laps remaining in the Warriors for Peace 500. We've already run the Warriors for Peace 490. We got 10 to go, as we see Alex Van de Sant doing whatever I tried to say earlier, wobbling and bobbling to the inside of Cesar Cabral right there. That is not what I'm trying. Bobbing and weaving. That's what I'm trying to say, Wyatt.
You're doing a great job with what you got here, Robert. You're struggling a little bit, but you know, we're getting to the end of a race where we have had a long 200 lap green flag run.
This is incredible, and I am incredibly proud of this field. Just the fact that they were able to go this long without a caution. Obviously, knock on wood, hoping that we don't get one in the next few laps as Alex Van der Sande comes to 8 laps to go. What a drive by Van der Sande. 1 lap ahead of absolutely everybody. He can basically put his feet up on the dash, if there is a dash in these cars. I guess there is. He could put his feet up. He could eat some popcorn, maybe crack open a Mountain Dew or a Diet Coke or something, and
maybe milk and cookies.
Milk and cookie. He's not Santa Claus, but you know he might be. I guess maybe Alexander Vanta Claus.
Vanda Santa?
Vanda Santa? No, he's not Alexander Vanda Santa, as Alexander Van der Sande is coming around to 6 laps to go. Cesar Cabral has jumped to pit road. Bit of an issue for him. Mark Rubilis also to pit road. So there may have been a little bit of contact. Michael Hossack to pit road as well. We do remain under green. 6 laps remaining. It is Van der Sande out front. Chad Frankenfield in second. Mark Murphy here with Chris Wilhite battling for third. This is something that if I'm Alex Van der Sande, I don't want to see, because that is third and fourth battling side by side at the back here for the third position. Chris Wilhite able to take advantage. Oh, they made a little bit of contact there. I don't know if you saw that, Wyatt. 5 laps to go.
You know, one thing I want to let be known is Wilhite had to pit with about 16 laps to go. Do you happen to remember the gap between Van der Sande's pit stop over Wilhite on that last run? Because this might be closer than we really think with Van der Sande. He might be trying to stretch this.
The gap of time was 12 laps difference between Van der Sande and Wilhite on the last caution. So really, I think Alexander Van der Sande can easily make this to the end.
It's going to be close from here on out with that 4-lap differential. I don't know if Wilhite pushed it until it was empty or not, but if he did, that's alarming for him, for Van der Sande.
Taking a look, Alexander Van der Sande still pushing it. He's in 6th gear. He's going to hit his 190 down the back straightaway, a little bit slower than what we saw a little bit earlier. But Van der Sande still doing a nice job. Coming to 2 laps to go. As we head a little bit further back, just take a look, see if we have any battles on the track. As we have Victor Del Porto here, Kevin Burrell, Gavin Hibbs, Matthew Weeks coming down pit road from the 8th position. As Nick DeGroot right there, Michael Housack rounding out the top 10. As here comes Alexander Van der Sande. He is coming to take the white flag here in the Warriors for Peace 500. Last lap here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Last lap in the Mega Driver 86 series forever. And last lap of the 2022 B season. Here he is, Alexander Van der Sande, coming around down the back straightaway for the final time in the number 1 power slide machine into turn 3, coming to turn number 4. We're going to send it to Barney to wave us home here. Checkered flag in the air. Alexander Van der Sande takes the victory here in the Warriors for Peace 500. That is Chad Frankenfield coming home second. Chris Wilhite third. Mark Murphy 4th, Victor Del Porto 5th, just barely over Kevin Burrell. Then it's Gavin Hibbs, Nick DeGroot, Michael Housack, Matthew Weeks rounding out the top 10. Nice performance there. Mark Rubilis, Bryant Jones, Cesar Cabral, AJ Musselman, Brandon Burns, Bill Colley, Nick Sudik, and Robert Smith rounding out the field here tonight, Wyatt. What a race, what a result. What a drive by Alex Van der Sande. As we see him here on track, he's going to burn it down. He does not have to reuse that power unit this season, as he has taken victory for the final time. We'll just quickly take a look at the finishing results here. We did run through them just moments ago, but doesn't hurt to take another look. As
You
we
know,
know, just quickly here, Wyatt, Alex Van takes victory over Chad Frankenfield, Chris Wilhite, Mark Murphy, Victor Del Porto, Kevin Burrell, Gavin Hibbs, Nick DeGroot, Michael Hossack, Matthew Weeks, Mark Rubilis, Brant Jones, Caesar Cabral, AJ Musselman, Brandon Burns, Bill Colley, Nick Sudik, Robert Smith, rounding out the field here at Gateway. What a race. What a result.
what a fantastic way to end this IndyCar season this year. A 200 plus lap green flag run. You don't see that too often. And oh man, these guys tonight put on a performance that was noteworthy. And you know, at the end of it, Van de Sant coming home with the win. Maybe he is Van de Santa.
Absolutely. But
You know,
why?
bringing the gifts of another trophy back home.
Speaking of trophies, we do have a message here from Adriano Pinero, our 2022 B champion. I'm going to put it up on the screen now, and we will go through it. The statement from Adriano Pinero goes, "Hello, guys. I would like to express my satisfaction for being champion this season. This is my fourth participation in the league, and I finished third twice, second once, and now my first title. The grid level is very strong, and the races are long lasting, which makes everything a great challenge. I'm the first Brazilian champion of the Elite Racing League, and it's really a great honor. Although I still speak little English, I feel very welcome, and I've always been very well respected by all members, and I'm aware that accidents and mistakes do happen. For example, this season I had an accident with Joshua Chin in Richmond, and I thought it was a dispute and a racing accident, and that is part of it. And despite the language difficulty, Chin apologized to me and also put my point of view that it was an accident due to a tight space dispute, and everything was fine. I have enormous respect and admiration for Joshua Chin. Unfortunately, he can't race them all. I think it would be very difficult to beat him in the championship because the level he competed at in the races he participated in was very strong and serves me as inspiration. I know that every season I've always been among the best, but I'm very humbled to say that I still need to improve my consistency on road tracks, and I also need to improve in some details on ovals. Mainly my stops and our green flags. Me too, Adriano. So for next year, I want to keep progressing and continue to challenge the best drivers in the world within the Elite Racing League. I'm very grateful to all the drivers who have raced this season and who in some way have contributed to my evolution. I thank Chad for the opportunity to race in the Elite Racing League, and I thank you from the broadcast. Thank you very much. That is Adriano Pinero, your 2022B champion here in the Elite Racing League Mega Driver 86 IndyCar Series. Just taking a look at the waiting room, we do have our top three standing by. So why don't we go ahead and bring in Christopher Wilhite, and we'll have a quick chat with him to discuss his race here tonight, Wyatt.
Sounds great.
Chris Wilhite, it's Robert Hill and Wyatt Canadal up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, we got you.
How are you doing tonight after that rather long green flag run to end this thing?
Yeah, taking a deep breath here and looking forward to resting a little bit. That was quite the ride. Fun race. Gateway can do that sometimes, right? We got a bit of a smaller field, and if we get spread out, sometimes that can happen. But still, I was shocked. I got no clue that we are gonna go that long.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Wyatt and I are both from the stock car side of things, so we came over here kind of expecting to be the same with quite a few cautions, and we only got the one, which is rather impressive. But what that does is really presents you with an opportunity to play the strategy game, which we did see. Unfortunately, you did have to pit rather late. Was that tires, or was that fuel, or was that really you just kind of hoping for the best?
No, definitely all fuel. So kind of knew Alex was saving from the get go. The problem was with us being out front. Just kind of like at Indy last week, right? It's harder to save when you're the leader. And I just made the decision very early on in that run. Hey, we're just going to go. We're just going to go for it and run hard. And as opposed to saving right away. So that was our strategy. It played out, so we can't go back now. But great job by Alex there saving, and then great job by Chad as well. I think he short pitted one of the stops and kind of leapfrogged me, got back out in front. But the tires were great. tonight. We were actually running our quickest laps there at the end of the stint. We needed a caution there at some point during the last 200 laps, and if we got it, then maybe we would have gotten a W because we were fast tonight. But Alex definitely deserved that one.
Absolutely. Alex did look great, as did you and Chad as well. Do you think there was something you could have done a little bit differently to maybe have that chance to get Alex at the end? Was it really just pit strategy kind of took you out of it, or do you think there
Yeah.
was something else you could have done
No,
different?
I mean we could have tried to save from the get go, but Alex is really good at saving. He's a little bit better than most of us, I think. So I think if we would, you noticed that there were a few more guys that made it, right? I think Mark Murphy cut out a pit stop, a couple of those other guys, and we ended up still finishing in front of them with the quicker stop. So that with the extra stop, that just tells you how quick Alex was tonight. He was able to save fuel and keep pace, where those other guys couldn't. So no, we kind of made our bed. We're gonna lie in it, and we'll take the podium. And we'd love to get a win, but we'll be happy with it.
Absolutely. And just before we let you go here tonight, Chris, for the final time this season, is there anyone you need to thank for getting you here to the track?
Yeah, shout out to Elite Racing League. We're actually jumping back in full time next year with a switch to Thursday. So these last two races here, second at Indy and a third here at Gateway, that gets me really fired up to get back in the league full time. And thanks to Chad, everything he does to run the league. Thanks to you guys. Shout out to Indy Alliance Racing, my teammates there, and just another congratulations to Alex there. Way to finish us off strong there with a dub.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Chris. Congratulations on your podium finish, and we look forward to seeing you next season making a run for that championship.
Yep, sounds great, guys. Looking forward to it.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
That was Chris Wilhite, your runner-up here tonight. Wyatt, I just want to say he just announced that he's going to be running full-time next season. I think he's going to be a championship contender.
Yeah, there's no doubt between his run at Indy and his run here tonight. Absolute masterclass of performance tonight. Strategy didn't go his way, but man, he led so many laps. He looked so good. He looked like the dominant car on track. If strategy played in his favor, he would have been in victory lane tonight. And, going in the next season, he's got to feel the momentum.
Absolutely. As next up for us here is our runner-up and our boss, Chad Frankenfield, as we're going to bring him in here. And Wyatt, you can take the interview away here with Chad Frankenfield.
Chad, you got Wyatt in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Awesome, Chad. Great run tonight. You played the strategy game, and yeah, you made it back up to the lead late, but you had to come back down pit road. How do you feel like your race went for you, and are you happy with the second place finish tonight?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's anytime you can get a podium in this series, it's good. Obviously, we were short some guys tonight, but I think the racing up front made up for it. I get the first stop, I just babied it too much trying to pit, and then I was able to get the lead back at some point. But yeah, I mean, the thing, like, when you're racing guys like Chris and Alex, they're just on top of their game. So for me to jump Chris, I knew I needed to do something strategy-wise, and that was short pit and just hope the yellow doesn't come out. In terms of Alex, I mean, he's just incredible how he can fuel save like that and keep his pace and keep the momentum going. It's just really remarkable. But kudos to him for being able to save the fuel like that. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly right, man. He did a great job saving fuel, but I gotta ask you, you guys went green there around ballpark lap 50, and did you think that thing was gonna go green the whole way?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this series, I mean, I think we're like 92% green flag on the season, so I mean, green flag racing is a really big part of this series. Just because the guys are so talented and the field gets strung out, and obviously there's not as many cars as well. So, I figured after that first yellow, we were probably there's a good chance that it was gonna go caution free. I just didn't think that Alex was gonna be able to save that much fuel and then not lose time. That's why I was just kind of blown away by that because I felt like we were sitting pretty. But yeah, I mean, I'm just happy with the result, and I'm just glad the race played out like it did. It was a good, clean race, and like I said, I'm glad the battle up front was interesting for most of the race for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. It was super, super fun to watch, and we had a great time up here calling it. I'm gonna pass it over to Robert, and he might have a little something for you here before we let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Chad, obviously, great job here tonight. Runner up to Alex Vanessant, who is definitely a very, very strong competitor here in the Mega Driver 86 IndyCar series. Um, is there anything you felt that you could have done differently? Obviously, you were on a very different pit strategy from anybody else, pitting much sooner than some others, and maybe making an extra stop there towards the end. But do you feel there was anything else you could have done differently to maybe have one final shot at the victory?
The only shot I had was to just feel safe, um, and just hope that oh man, just hope that it just plays out. I mean, some of these guys have such, you know, guys like Alex and Chris. I mean, this is what they run on here, nonstop all week, and they know what they could do fuel wise. And unfortunately, I'm kind of guessing a lot. And I looked at the fuel. I was like, I don't think no one's gonna be able to save that. And of course, Alex saves it. So, um, in hindsight, obviously, I wish I would have just started saving right away and just hoped that I was gonna make it. But yeah, I mean, I think it played out perfect. I mean, once that second pit stop where Alex pitted for the second to last time, once he did that, I said I knew the race was over. I told Chris it was it was fun while it lasted because at that point I knew the race was over unless we were gonna get a yellow. So, but I mean, I will say that we got involved in that lap traffic there, and I decided that if I pit early, I might be able to jump Chris on the under, just because of being able to run flyers in clean air, and that's what I was able to do, and it paid off. So, um, yeah, I want to thank you guys obviously for broadcasting. I want to thank Rish, Dave, everybody that has been helping with this series. Thank you to Mega Driver, Ethan Reasoner. This is his last race on board as a title sponsor. And the next season it's going to be Warriors for Peace. But Ethan's been sponsoring an Elite Series. I mean, really all the way back since like 2018. So um, it's been nice having him help out. And yeah, I mean, you guys are more just as aware though. I mean, the season's a grind, and I'm glad that we're. This is actually our last Friday race too. The series moves to Thursday, so I'm glad I'm gonna have my Fridays back. I think my wife's happy about that too. So all in
Most
all,
definitely.
yeah, all in all, good season. Thank you to Kicking the Tires. Really my first true sponsor on sim racing, and they've been an awesome partner. And shout out to Days Gone By Vintage Apparel, Little Eagle Racing. I'm really looking forward to next season with this series. Mark Orbillis is sponsoring the 500, and our purse is going to be $1,100 just for the 500 alone. So it's going to be a crazy season. I expect the field to get deeper and more cars, and it's going to be an epic year. So and I believe you're doing this series next year. So
I am.
yeah, so I'm glad you got to get your feet wet, and yeah, I mean it's going to be a fun year. I'm excited.
Absolutely, definitely going to be exciting, and we do get a month and a bit off. We're back February 9th, so that should be fun. And Chad, congratulations on your runner-up finish here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in a few days when you go championship racing.
Yeah, obviously on Sunday we're going to crown a Formula One champ. Obviously the series didn't go as planned, but it's still worth noting. And our truck series is going to crown a champion on Sunday, and then I'll be in the Final Four Monday and Wednesday. So it's a big week coming up, and just hopefully can win one of those championships. That'd be the goal. So
Absolutely, and we wish you the best of luck with that. Thank you for joining us tonight, and once again, congratulations on the runner-up finish.
yep, thank you guys.
That was Chad Frankenfield Wyatt, the runner-up tonight and championship contender in two of our main NASCAR series. So Chad definitely going to be one to watch this upcoming week.
Yeah, he is. Done a great job all season. Every series, he's really stepped it up this year, and this might just be his year.
Absolutely, and you know what? Let's bring down the man we called Alex Advantage Santa, Alex Vandasanta, tonight's race winner here in just a moment. Here he is, Alex Vandasant. Alex Vandasant is Robert Hill Jr. and Wyatt Canadal up in the booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
Congratulations on your victory tonight. You definitely worked for it. You made your strategy pay off tonight, able to battle with Chad Frankenfield, Chris Wilhite, and a few others tonight and take the victory. How good does it feel to wrap up the season with a win?
Yeah, fantastic. That was a tough race. Had to really commit to that strategy. Fortunately, just with the way the traffic played out and all that, was able to just stick with those guys and yeah, had a huge advantage at the end. So yeah, super happy with to finish off with a win by like that with that much dominance there. It's always really satisfying. So
Absolutely. I enjoy dominating races. I do it all the time. No, I don't ever. But the lap traffic definitely played a factor tonight. We saw some drivers such as Victor Del Porto really put on a fight when some of the leaders were trying to go by him. How did you navigate your way through that? And did you find it tough, or were you able to kind of get through that rather easily?
I definitely had a couple moments. And I understand it. People have their own races to run, and I think at that time Victor had somebody right behind me was going to try to pass Victor for position, so we didn't really
Correct.
want to give it up. But I just got to, there's a reason I'm putting them a lap down. I know I have a lot more pace than them, so just be patient, and eventually I'll get a big enough run that I can make something happen. And I was just able to survive and follow others through.
Yeah, and obviously early on we did see a lot of speed out of Chris Wilhite and again Chad Frankenfield. Did you think that you had the car to beat tonight? Did you know you had the car to beat, or did you just kind of figure that out a little later on when you saw strategy was starting to go your way? You were able to pull away a little bit. Obviously, you lapped the entire field, but did you think it was yours from the start?
I knew it was going to be. I could tell it was going to be very tough to beat Chris and Chad on outright pace. We were all three of us were super close. So I think if I got clean air, I would have had a good shot at holding it there. But in the end, I just saw the opportunity to, not make it easy with the strategy, but really secure it. So I took that, and yeah, at the end it worked out.
And that's absolutely all you can really ask for. And Wyatt, just before we let Alex thank his sponsors, thank everyone that makes it happen for him, do you have any questions for tonight's race winner?
Yeah, Alex, congratulations. Great race. I wanted to ask you about that green flag run. Chad was saying how you guys typically run very green, and I was just wondering how tired you are and how good it feels to be that tired for a win.
Very tired. It's been a long afternoon. I had a big race at Road America right before this too, that I also won, and so it's just been, I've been driving all afternoon, so I am completely wiped out. But it's those Indycar with long green flag runs is just magical. I mean, nothing will beat like an Indianapolis race going green, like we had a couple weeks ago, but like just any track though is going to be very fun.
Right, exactly. And congratulations to both wins. You did a phenomenal job tonight. You outpaced the other guys with strategy, and you had the speed. I gotta assume you planned on saving the whole time from the second that thing went back under green from the first caution.
Yeah, I was actually saving under that first run too, from the green flag. So the entire race until I knew I was secure with fuel at the end, I was fuel saving. So I knew how many laps I could do, and that caution fell at the right time. It actually made the fuel save a little bit harder, but still well within the range that I knew I could hit it and really commit to it and not lose too much time.
And that's awesome. And both the other guys on the podium tonight mentioned your fuel saving ability. Is it something you take pride in?
Definitely. I mean, I've won lots of races just from being able to fuel save more than the next guy. So, yeah, it's a skill that I like to think I'm kind of known for. And there's others that do it better. So, I'm always trying to improve and learn on all aspects of that.
Well, congratulations once again, and I'm going to pass it back off to Robert. Long, hard fought victory, and you deserved it, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, Alex, obviously the final question here tonight for you is who do you have to thank for getting you out here to the track? Obviously, teammates, partners. Who do you got behind you?
Yeah, big thanks as always to Powerslide Motorsports, everybody at Turn 4 Racing. I was working with Chris and Nick Sudik. He was doing a lot of fuel math for me after he ran into some issues at the start, which was unfortunate. So, yeah, big thanks to those guys for all their help this season. And yeah.
Absolutely. Can never do it without your teammates. They always play a big part. Once again, congratulations to you on the win tonight. Congratulations on a great season. And we hope to see you contending for the championship when we get going again in 2023A.
Yeah, thanks a bunch, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Alex Vanasan, tonight's race winner here, Wyatt, at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Obviously, 260 laps around this circuit tonight. We broadcasted all of it, but you only saw most of it as we had some technological issues. Once again, we do apologize for that. We're so glad you guys could join us here tonight and all season long on the Elite Racing Network. Congratulations to Alex Vanasan on the victory, Adriano Pinero on the championship. And now we get an off season. We're back February 9th at Pocono with the Pocono 500 Thursday nights, as Chad mentioned, and can't wait for that. But before we get going here tonight, Wyatt, final thoughts?
I didn't get to watch a whole lot of this season, but man, they put on a masterclass tonight. It was so fun to watch, and I had a great time filling in here in the booth with you. Have a great time broadcasting with you, like always, and man, I might have to watch some more of these next season because I'm hooked now on watching it.
Yeah, we may have to work you into some more broadcasts next season. Obviously, thank you very much to you for joining me at the last minute. Obviously, was not expecting to have you up in the booth tonight, but it's always a privilege for sure. One of my great teammates, great buddies. So glad to have you here tonight. Thank you to everyone once again for tuning in. Once again, congratulations to Alex and Adriano. Thank you to Ethan Reisner of Mega Driver 86 for being our premier partner for so many years now. We wish him the best of luck. Welcome Warriors for Peace as our new series partner. Thank you to BrizzyCam, Blue Egg Marketing, TA Services, everyone here at Elite Racing Network. Thanks to Dave Huckleberry. He puts together all the graphics that you guys see every night, every series, the points packages, the driver overrides, everything that he does. Thank you to him. This is not his full-time job, but he does a hell of a job with it. So kudos to Dave Huckleberry. Thanks to Rishav, Khosla, all of the commentators we've had in the series this year. Derik, Tony, Tristan, I believe Dave has called some races, maybe Chris Wright, obviously yourself now, Wyatt, and everyone else behind the scenes. Thanks to Chad for putting on the series, and thanks, of course, to you, the fans at home, for tuning in every Friday night. Don't tune in Friday night next year. Tune in on Thursday. It should be myself and possibly Derik, maybe even Wyatt. And we can't wait to do that. But for now, we're going to sign off for the final time in the 2022B IndyCar season. We wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. I hope you enjoy it. Stay safe, have fun, and we wish you the best of nights. Thank you, everybody, and good